Good evening, and welcome to the Emerson Institute at City of Light. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz, and it's a delight to welcome you. I'm glad that you've joined us for tonight's class session. This is the class on the basic principles of science of the mind by Frederick Bales. If you've been following along in our textbook, then this is chapter 6, class 6, I should say, in our series, and it's on the treatment for specific conditions. We're going to look forward into getting into this class and dwelling in some great insights, really tearing apart and just really working through them that are all there for our spiritual growth and our development. Now, as we prepare, I'm going to invite you to join me in taking 3 deep cleansing breaths. We're going to breathe in through our nose, hold for a brief moment, and then just release out. And let's just reset our thoughts, reset our whole vibrational frequency, and let's align ourselves with this present moment. Because right now, God has something wonderful for us. This universe is ever speaking to us. So let's align our frequency to be that of I'm listening and I'm open to the insights that the Spirit of God wants to reveal to us tonight. Join with me now in this breathing exercise. Let's breathe in. And release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. And in a moment of silence, please set your intention for that which you desire to transpire in your life during the time that we share together. And so it is. Well, I'm glad that you've joined us. We're broadcasting live from the Dr. Angelo Pizzella Wisdom Center on the 3rd floor of our campus here at City of Light. It's a delight to share this wonderful facility with you and this incredible space for wisdom seekers. It is one of the largest lending libraries, if not the largest lending library for America. It is a metaphysical library that enables you to check out books and great resources with over 4,000 volumes and more coming to make this just an incredible resource center. Not only is it a library, but it's also a wonderful wisdom center for classes, workshops, such as we're having tonight, and many other gatherings that are all about spiritual enrichment. So we're just so delighted to have this incredible space and to share it with you. Now let's dig into class number 6 as we look at treatment for specific conditions. The author opens up with this incredible statement. It says, "Let us never forget that we treat the thought rather than the condition." Now, so often when people go to prayer, praying for some sort of situation, some sort of sickness, illness, we often think that we're praying around or concerning the illness itself. A cold, a flu, COVID-19, some sort of back problems or aches or stomach stress, whatever it may be that we're looking at, quite often we're just focusing on that rather than the thought, because the condition is only the thought in form. So something has caused this condition. And what is the cause? The thought. The thoughts that are going through our mind. Conditions are only effects, and thoughts are the causes. So we might stop to think about someone who is struggling with a stomach ulcer. Where did that ulcer come from? It formed from the stress, the thoughts of stress within their life, all of the complications that they've gone through, that they've held in thought and in consciousness, holding that story within their body has now resulted in a cause creating effect wherein there is this dis-ease or this dis-ease within the body, this uncomfortableness that creates this illness. So what we want to do in prayer treatment is to correct the cause, and then the effects will just correct themselves. So whenever we're dealing with some illness, we want to go deep within and some sickness and so on. What is it we need to release? What is it we need to let go? What is causing this to take place within the body? So we've just noted some examples, such as the stomach ulcer, but there's many others that we can look at. So quite often, if you're struggling with a headache, where did that headache come from? Well, the stress of the day, the tension that you're holding in your body, all these kind of things can be contributing to the challenges that you're going through physically within your physical body. So really, when we look at, as an example of the stomach ulcer, there's nothing more physical in its manifestation than this ailment. This really is a great example, because nothing more mental is its cause. It's just simply all of this. It's nothing more than the mental stress, the anxiety that we're going through. So, Anne, do you have a question?
So could we also say that we treat the feeling? You're treating the thought.
Yes.
The feeling is in there too. I mean, a lot of times I ask myself, well, what am I feeling?
Right. Because that feeling may be a feeling of anxiety,
right,
a feeling of fear. So then we want to go, what thought created that feeling? So we want to make sure that we can address the feeling, but let's go even further to say, what thought created that feeling, and that feeling of sadness, or that feeling of stress, or that feeling of anger, or that feeling of anxiety or fear? What thought brought that on? So let's get even further down to the root of what's thinking. Let's go to Steve. What's your question?
Yeah, because don't feelings respond not just through our conscious thoughts. We always think of a thought being conscious, but a feeling could be reacting to a subconscious thought.
A feeling could be reacted to a subconscious thought. Yes, that's true. It can be something that we've imparted deep within us. Subconsciously, and we're operating from that, and that feeling arises. Yes, that is so true. So we want to make sure that what we're looking at is trying to discover what thoughts are going through our head that create the stress and the tension, So let's get to the core and release those thoughts. So our prayer treatment needs to be helping our patient or our client that we're working with in prayer, that we want to facilitate treatment for healing. We want to get back to releasing thoughts that are causing the challenge and imparting new, fresh thoughts, replacing them with fresh thoughts of wholeness and completeness, of peace, and a sense of calm. So much of the stomach ulcer illness is based on the false belief that something or someone outside of us has power to irritate us. I really want to emphasize this, because so much of our dis-ease, our uncomfortableness, our stress, our anxiety, comes from the sense that we allow other situations or people to irritate us. Because experiences in themselves, well, they just don't have any power to irritate us. It's our reaction to what's going on that irritates us. So you may listen to the news, and the news, I'm going to tell you, doesn't have the power to irritate you. It's your reaction to the news that has the power to irritate you. So you may hear something that you don't agree with in this realm of politics, as an example. Politics doesn't have the power to irritate you, but your consent to allow this irritation to be there, your reaction is really what is creating the irritation. Because nothing can irritate you without your consent. I want to emphasize that. Nothing can irritate you without your consent. So there's some people say, you know what, I just can't stand a political conversation, and others say, I can allow it, or I can enjoy it, or I can participate, because I'm not allowing whatever is being said to raise up anger or frustration or disagreement within me. I'm not allowing it to irritate me whatsoever. Now, if you have that strength and ability, kudos to you. I think that's incredible when we realize I'm not going to allow these things in our world to irritate me. And having that mindset changes everything. So we may see any kind of disappointment that you're facing in your life, any kind of challenge you're going through. Just remember, it's you and your reaction, your thoughts, or your reaction to what's going on, that are the cause that brings about an effect within our lives. And that effect may be some sort of physical effect within the body that creates some sort of sickness, some sort of sense of not being at perfect peace and not being whole and well. So a man or woman thinks with every cell of their body. The cell has no individual intelligence, no power independent of thought, but it must take on the thought patterns of the person whom it is a part of. Okay, so every cell within of its own body doesn't have its own individual intelligence, but instead it is taking on the thoughts that we have within our body. So how about it? Let's just say you tell your body, today's a great day. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling powerful. I'm feeling vibrant and alive. You know, this is the thought that you're feeding to every cell within your very being. Or let's just say you're stressed, you're worried, you're fearful, apprehensive about everything that's going on. You're telling that to every cell within your body. And the cells within you take on the thought pattern that's going on within your life and within your thoughts, within your mind. Because our thoughts create our story creates our biography creates our biology. Everybody understand that? We can't emphasize this enough. What you're thinking is now creating the story that you're telling everyone. I'm in fear, I'm afraid, I'm scared. This really irritates me, this ticks me off. We go on and we tell the story of the thoughts that are going in our life, and then that story is going into the body, and every cell is listening and responding to the story of fear and negativity and anxiety and stress, all these kind of things, and it creates your biology. It creates your whole story, and that story then is the biography of your life. That biography now is impacting your very being, the very biology. So in our prayer treatment, here's a great suggestion. You'll find it in our notes tonight for our class. We might use the following statement in our prayer treatment. Nothing in the universe has the power to irritate or disturb the infinite, for it rests always in the state of perfect peace. So when we think about that, nothing in this universe, I don't care what's going on, I don't care what disappointing news you heard, I don't care what challenge or what kind of difficulty you're facing in this life, nothing in this universe has the power to irritate or disturb the infinite. God, the divine presence, that presence that was in you, for it rests always in a state of perfect peace. So allow that beautiful presence of the divine to rule and reign over your life, and live from that divine presence, that presence that is always at perfect peace, at perfect rest. That presence then, as it permeates your life, is one that will not be shaken, will not be rocked, will not be challenged in any way. It will be at perfect peace. It's the great stabilizer. So quite often we live in this roller coaster of emotions. I can testify to that. I myself have gone through a roller coaster of emotions in the past few months. As we think of what stabilizes us, what keeps us from these highs and lows, what keeps us from these moments of thinking I'm okay and then sadness overwhelming us, it's that perfect peace. My partner Robert is facing stage 4 cancer. Last night I went to the grocery store and I was shopping, and I went to the fruit section of the store and I picked up some of those wonderful mandarin oranges, little cuties, And I thought, I love these. Robert and I love these. I would peel them for him and say, here's an orange for you to eat. And we'd watch television. We'd have, just nibbling on these mandarin oranges and enjoying the flavor, and just something we loved as a great treat and a snack at night. And then suddenly I realized he can't eat them anymore. The cancer has consumed and taken his ability to have food coming through his mouth, and he's only fed through a feeding tube. And in that moment, I just looked at these mandarin oranges with such sadness, I started to cry in the grocery store. Wait a minute. I'm like, don't cry in the grocery store of all things. But I was just so sad that I could eat them, but he could not. I could have that. I could share in the joy of the flavor and the wonderful experience of sitting around and eating and just enjoying the mandarin orange, and he could not. It's not possible anymore. That sadness overwhelmed me, and suddenly I'm like, okay, get a grip. You can't be crying in the grocery store. Don't make a scene like this. And suddenly I just took a deep breath and just said, okay, I'm embracing that perfect peace, that divine presence. God is with me. God is with Robert. All things are working together for a divine purpose. And I rest. And it became a stabilizing factor for me in the moment. It's what just helped me take a deep breath and just realize the divine perfect peace in me. And it is not troubled by anything, but sees and knows the all good through every experience we're going through. We, in our physical context and our focus on this physical world, will constantly be drawn to the feelings of what we taste, what we see, and the limitations of this physical world. And in that, it evokes a sense of sadness for us. It may take us on this roller coaster where we dip down, and then we awaken to that divine peace, which brings us back. But the great stabilizer is for us to embrace that divine presence of God, that love of God, that peace of God, and saying nothing in this universe, nothing, no experience, no cancer, nothing has the power to irritate or disturb this divine presence within me. It is the foundation. It is the rock I stand upon. On this solid rock I stand. That's what is a stabilizer for our lives. And did you have a comment or question that you're going to make?
Yes, it must have been, having listened to this once already, when I feel insecure about a decision I have to make, especially when it involves the house or something, I call my son-in-law, and most of the time, and I'm pretty sure he's not listening to this tonight, what he comments doesn't make any sense to me at all. And it irritates me to no end. And I say, why did I even ask him in the first place? I don't understand what he's telling me. And then I began to realize that when I do that, the ultimate of that transaction has been that it brings me back to myself. And I go within, and I realize that in my truth, I can work it out myself. I don't need to have to ask him to work anything out for me. And so that takes the irritation away. You just have to have the faith that you can go within. But yeah, and that, I'm pretty sure that must have come out of this, because that's a process that's been going on for a while.
Beautiful. You know, I want to tell you this. You know the answer to every situation.
Yeah.
And quite often we ask other people, but I'd like you to play psychiatrist or psychologist and give yourself $175 an hour. That's what they charge. And what are they going to say to you? Well, what do you think? Exactly. Quite often, what does the psychologist or what does the psychiatrist say to you as you're laying on the sofa paying $175? They're going to say, I've heard you. Now, what do you think? And what happens is they just are there to be a listening ear. And what they're going to say is, you know the answer. And I want to invite you to just be your own psychiatrist or psychiatrist, and just save yourself the $175. Not to say that going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or counselor is not a good thing. But in most cases, I just want to say to you, you know the answer. So allow the divine to speak to you and through you. And we'll reveal to you the answers that you need. As Anne said, don't let something, your inquiry come to a place where you're irritated. You know the answer. All right, let's move on. Now, our treatment is a very definite thing for a definite purpose. So when we're praying, and our prayer is a treatment for all the doubt and fear and anxiety, we're treating that to release those thoughts. We're treating that to release those thoughts and to welcome the answer thoughts, the solution thoughts, and to speak those. It's great to be specific then in our treatment and state the name and maybe even the address of the person that we're doing a treatment for. It just really gives some specifics as we're speaking to the universe. I am treating now for John Doe, who lives on 4456 Euclid Street. I am treating right now for this person, and I'm claiming this outcome for them. So there can be this definite aspect that we're putting, that we're just really offering the confidence and the assurance as we speak words of great faith, and we speak them with the power of knowing and an authority that we know that the definite, the good, is definitely unfolding. And we treat the belief of the person, so we might say this: I know that every cell of his or her body knows this truth that I speak, and is beginning or being remolded according to it, being reshaped, restructured according to this truth that I now speak. I know that every cell. So as we're treating for those who are facing so many illnesses in our world today, sickness, whatever it may be, we're speaking this very definite truth in a great authority and confidence, speaking to every cell within the body. For as this person that you're treating for begins to embrace this new consciousness, this new thinking that you are imparting to them, they begin to welcome these thoughts that are the cause that bring about the healing effect. In one sense, there is nothing to heal. The illness lies in the false belief. In the false belief. So, what happens is, I was just visiting with someone who said, oh, my jaw hurts. Oh, last night I was so tense and so stressed. I was biting down so hard as I was sleeping. Have you ever had that experience where maybe you're so stressed and you just bit down really hard and you felt this sort of like, oh, my jaw is sore and tight. So we're not really treating the sore jaw. We're treating the stress that person was holding as they went to sleep, that in their dreams, they were stressed in their dreams, that they were tense and just biting down so hard, or maybe even grinding their teeth as they were going through this experience and this dream. There's nothing to heal but the false belief. So when we work with the thoughts that are going through our heads, we begin to facilitate the healing power opening up that's natural and always there. Because our thoughts quite often are the barrier and are the obstacle to that healing flow within the body we are innately given and born with. The power to rejuvenate, the power to restore, the power to rebuild. Cells do this all the time on their own. They are rebuilding, they're renewing all the time. There is a good process, but sometimes our thoughts, some things that we've embedded in our mind, held deep in consciousness, and create a block to that wonderful healing process. So just think if humanity began to evolve its thinking, mature its thinking, transform its thinking. If we advance to the state where there was a universal disbelief in illness, there would be none of it for us to experience. If we said, there's no illness, because what we're working in is the thought that is the cause. That's what's bringing about all of our illness within our body. Now, I spoke with someone who is experiencing a lot of stress and tension in their back. Well, in conversation, they began to talk about the experiences of what they were going through and their stress and tension in their thoughts, and all that was going on in this world just irritated them to no end, that it created a stiffness and a tension that they kind of snapped some muscles and sort of pulled those muscles in the sciatic nerve area and just created all this tension in their body. And then why are you having this back pain? Well, what are you holding in thought? Let's release the thoughts, and you're going to find, the tension and the stress within the muscular area of the back are going to just relax, and they'll work their way out in healing. I can remember, have you ever wrestled with a fitted sheet? Oh my Lord. Sometimes putting a fitted sheet on a mattress is like, I feel like I'm, Jacob wrestling with the angel, and, I'm just going to wrestle and say, I will not let you go until you bless me. I'm going to not let this fitted sheet go until I got it on, and I'm wrestling with it. Well, sometimes the tension and stress of all the day that you're carrying that's occupying your thoughts as you are wrestling with that sheet. I don't know how many times, you kind of pull up the mattress and you're trying to stretch the fitted sheet over it because it's maybe shrunk a little too much and the mattress seems to be a little bit too large for the fitted sheet. And you're trying to pull, and all of a sudden, oh, what snapped in my back? Well, I can tell you that from firsthand. And when I looked at it, I said, you know what? What caused all that? There was stress within the body. Stress that just really created this. What's going on in my mind? What am I thinking? I'm holding all kinds of issues, and I needed to stop, let go of that fitted sheet. And you know what? Just deal with releasing those thoughts that are there. Now, the good news is that spiritual treatment is growing in use every year in America and around the world. I love this as we're really awakening to what the power of healing prayer is all about. We're not healing sickness. We're healing the thoughts, the thought energy, the biology, the story. We're healing that and bringing about a lifetime transformation. Because if we can let go of some of these stories we've got in our head, these fear-based beliefs, this anxiety and nervousness and fear that we're having about the world around us, we're going to be so much better physically as well. Now, everything is rising up for the purpose of healing. I can't emphasize that enough. That's a beautiful thought. Everything that's rising up and every experience you're going through is for the purpose of healing. So sometimes maybe these little pains or headaches or backaches or muscle aches, whatever that we're experiencing, are there to kind of be a little, wait a minute, wait, what's coming up that you need to heal, that we need to address? Healing begins with this understanding that this is coming up for me to cleanse the thoughts, release the thoughts. Sometimes we look at all these things that are happening in our world where there's discussions about sexual orientation versus preference, women's rights, the Me Too movement, systematic racism, climate change, following science or not following science. All these things are rising up within our world right now today for us to heal through greater understanding. And the biggest harm we can do to our life is to have this closed mind to greater understanding and to begin to say, a closed mind that says, I don't want to learn, or I don't want to understand, or I can't understand, or I don't want to comprehend. But the open mind is the great pathway to healing. I said this on Sunday. You know what? The open mind is like a parachute. The mind is like a parachute. It's only good when it's open. Yep, how good is a parachute when it's closed? Not very valuable, but it is great and very valued when it's wide open. So it is for our mind. The open mind is the mind that's open to great understanding and awareness. So maybe start right now by just taking a moment to say, how open is my mind to understanding? Or have I made up my mind and closed it and slammed the door shut? I know everything, I understand everything, and everything is stupid, it's crazy, it's idiotic. Rather than stop, wait a minute, what can I learn? What am I here to understand in a deeper context? What can I learn? Because healing begins with the understanding that everything we're going through is there for our good, for a purpose of healing. It's coming up for healing. And that healing comes through us opening the door to understanding, an open mind. So the key is important that we see clearly that man or woman is an extension of this infinite, just as the inlet is of the ocean. The inlet, you know where inlet is, right? Where water has come in a little inlet, little bay, we might say, of the ocean. It's an extension of the ocean. So when we understand that you are an extension of the infinite, You are the revelation of God, the extension of God. So when we say you're the hands of God, you're the feet of God, you're the voice of God, you're the mind of God, what we're saying is you're an extension of this divine power of infinite possibilities. And we must begin to see our life as that we are not just physical beings having a physical experience. We're spiritual beings having this physical experience. We come first and foremost from the perspective of the soul, and secondly, from the perspective of the body. So begin first to think, I am this soul, I'm this spiritual essence. I am the extension of the divine that happens to be housed within this physical body. I can't emphasize enough that the inner world is the world of reality. What's happening inside you is the world of reality. What's happening in your thoughts is the world of reality, because every thought you have is shaping and molding and creating your reality. So it's going within to discover, what kind of things do I need to release and let go? What do I need to treat? What fears and doubts and questions? Quite often we have a lot of fears that say, I don't think I can do this. I can't. I'm too stupid. I'm just not capable. We need to begin to heal those, release those thoughts, and begin to realize I can. And the Spirit of God is imparting the wisdom to you to know exactly what to do. So this inner world then of this positive consciousness is going to create this positive reality within you. So we do not merely wish or hope for something to happen. No, we speak our word and we speak it with confidence, knowing it will happen. I had a conversation, one of our congregants said, I'm getting get rid of the word hope. Because hope quite often says, I hope so, meaning I'm not really sure. I kind of think it would be nice, but I hope so. Or I hope you have a safe trip, versus how about, I know you're going to have a safe trip. I claim a safe trip is yours. You see the big difference? The maybe, the questioning and the wondering is now removed as we change our language to a sense of knowing. Steve, what's your comment?
When the word hope is used in the Bible, wasn't it used in the context of I know?
Yes.
Because I know in our society, you're right, hope is always sounding like, well, maybe, I'm not sure.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
But it's a kind of a wishy-washy.
Exactly.
Thing. But when it's spoken in the Bible, it really is meant, I know. I hope so. I hope in the return of Christ, let's say. And they're saying it's not, maybe. I know it's coming.
And the hope being a promise for us, a sense of like I'm filled with this sense of a promise of the divine unfolding in my life. That's what hope meant for them. I agree. Today's culture in our Western world, we use hope in such a sense of iffy, wishy-washy, maybe, uncertainty kind of thing. Well, I'm hoping. I'm not really confident, but I'm hoping. And so quite often we've sort of said, let's change that. Certainly within the Bible, even the word hope stood for a lot of imagination. This sort of, I'm imaging its possibility. I'm imagining it in mind, and my hope is filled with the images of the yes unfolding for me. So yes, how beautiful it was in that context in today's Western world as we apply that, our English consciousness around this word, it's just kind of lost some of its original intention. So we must come to the understanding that there is infinite supply and unite our consciousness with the giver of that supply. I can't emphasize this enough, how important it is that we understand that we're called to seek the giver, not the gift. Quite often in our spiritual communities, I want this gift. I want this spiritual gift. I want this gift of healing. I want to be this or that. I want to have this gift of intuitiveness. I want this gift of prophecy. I want this gift of, something. And we're seeking the gift instead of seeking the giver of the gift, this divine presence. So once we shift and we connect with the source, the divine supply just begins to flow. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added unto you. That's the power of the ancient truth of Scripture, inviting us to first seek the kingdom. Don't seek the gifts. Don't be saying, I've come to just seek prosperity and I've come to seek abundance. No, those are the gifts. But seek the giver of the gifts, the divine presence within you, and that prosperity and abundance will unfold from you. It's going to be a byproduct, a natural byproduct of the relationship that you have with the divine source. So when we first make this strong connection with the divine source, everything else begins to fall in place. They become byproducts of that incredible relationship you have. I think that's why here at City of Light, there are many spiritual communities that want to be social actions communities. And they preach social action sermons left and right. And they really want to emphasize Sunday after Sunday, it's all about our social action in the world. Let me tell you, when we first understand a strong connection with the divine source, with God, social action will be a byproduct of that. So let's not focus on the byproduct. Let's focus on the original source of the all good in every aspect, of every gift, of every blessing, of all good things. They're coming from us teaching first and foremost the power of the divine source within us. That source is God. That wonderful power and presence within you. So what's most important is our connection with this source. We've got to understand that that's the most important thing. For everything else that you so desire, it's going to come naturally to you. For the time being, seek the inner kingdom of God and unite your consciousness with that of the giver who has never known lack and is not withholding anything and knows the desires of your heart even before you ask. That's the beauty. So now let's look into what our author is asking us about. What is this kingdom of God you're talking about? This kingdom within? Well, Jesus teaches that the consciousness of the oneness of God is the kingdom of God. The oneness. That we are one with God. There's no separation. God is in us, working through us, all around us, and ever for us. There is no withholding. There's no separation. There's nothing. So when we walk in this complete oneness, this oneness that we know that we're sons and daughters of God, that we are so one that the divine image is being reflected in us. The divine presence, the goodness of God is being revealed through us. We're so one with this. I love this passage from Romans 13:14 says, rather clothe yourself, meaning put on with the Lord Jesus Christ, which is meaning the consciousness of being one with the source. Put on this consciousness of being one. And do not think about how, let go of the how to gratify the desires of the flesh, or how is this abundance going to happen? Or how is this prosperity going to work out for me? And how's this blessing going to happen? I want to know the how. Oh, wait. Do not think about the how. Just clothe yourself with the awareness, the consciousness of this divine source of God. God in you. God, this divine presence in you. It's your innate nature. It's how you are truly meant to be and intended to be from the very beginning, is this revelation of all the love and grace and forgiveness and goodness of God. Just live from that perspective. And the promise is everything else will be added unto you. So spend your time just being in the divine presence and knowing that the giver of great gifts will generously unfold for you everything that you desire. So what we want to do is move past these material possessions to the underlying principle of the unfailing supply. And when we do, we will know and experience unlimited blessings, unlimited provisions. Move past this idea of, oh, I need this material thing or that material thing or this, or I want this gift or this one thing. But move to this wonderful awareness. I'm just resting in the divine presence of God. Like the good hands of Allstate, this is where I am. I'm in the presence of God in these hands. And I know that everything that I need is right there and being supplied for me. It'll unfold. So the key is to penetrate to the inner hidden world of reality where all things have their origin. Go within. Go within your mind. Go within your consciousness. Go within in a sense of meditation and begin to contemplate and dwell in thought on the goodness of God. We do this by treating our thought rather than treating the condition. So when we go into the presence, what we're doing is treating thoughts of doubt and fear and questioning and wondering and just changing it out to allowing, letting, receiving, changing to these kind of thoughts that will then change everything within the physical body. Well, in the divine presence, everything else will be falling in together in perfect order. Now, in this example, our prosperity is always there for us, but we often, in lack of faith and lack of belief, we cut ourselves off from the divine flow. Now, this supply of blessing has been constant from our birth. And since it had been continuous in the past, well, it's going to be continuous in the future. It's going to always be there. So we understand this, that don't cut yourself off from the divine flow of good. I'm going to tell you this. The blessings of God are flowing right now. They're flowing right now. They're all around you. They're there for you. The prosperity you so seek, the blessings, the comfort, the health, the strength, the relationships that you're looking for, they're all there. Just don't let your thoughts of fear and anxiety and stress and all the irritations cut you off from this divine flow, because the gifts are there. They're ready for you. It's like this wonderful conveyor belt of God's wonderful blessings coming down. And all of a sudden, what you do is you pull the lever and stop that conveyor belt. And some of us even put it in reverse. And the blessings are pulling away from us because of the energy of thought that we're putting out. It'll never happen. It's not going to work for me. I'm scared and I'm frightened. And boy, oh boy, I've gone through a lot of that. I can personally tell you this. And when I just said, whoa, wait, pull that lever, come on down. Let's let that conveyor belt go in this direction, not in that direction. Let's let those blessings continue to flow. And no matter what the world may offer to me, I know my thoughts are directed in the sense of confidence and knowing all things are working together for good to those that first love the Lord, first walk into the presence, first are in divine communion with this infinite of great possibilities within our life. So often our challenge is deeply rooted in a sense of unworthiness. This belief of lack can be found in our deeper mind, in our subconscious mind. We have the surface mind, which is all this chatter and thoughts that come to us on a day-to-day basis. And there's a deeper mind, that subconscious mind. And deep down within it, somewhere along the line, we've heard someone say, "You're not worthy." And we bought into it. We believed it. In some way, maybe some pastor, some teaching, some church, some song, that echoing this, you're not worthy of something. You're not worthy of the good. And so then we embrace that thought, and that thought becomes our story. And we keep saying, I'm not worthy of God's blessings. God's blessings are wonderful. They happen for you and you and you, but not for me, because I haven't been a good person and I'm just not worthy of it. I haven't made myself worthy of God's goodness and God's grace. Well, that kind of thought is exactly what we're talking about. And we need to treat, to remove, because that thought is the cause that's bringing about a limiting effect in your life. Your poverty, your illness, your lack of a sense of abundance is coming from this sense that you somehow have bought into a story that you're not worthy of all the good that God is ready to bestow in your life. Let's look, as we talk continually about healing and some of the conditions of this world, how about concerning a cold? Now, the underlying predisposing condition is confusion, usually accompanied by some strong feelings of inner rage and frustration. The key is to treat our feelings for peace, and that we want feelings of peace and great fulfillment. Again, that scripture says, clothe yourself in righteousness. Clothe yourself in right thinking. That's what righteousness is. So when you're getting dressed, that's right, put it on. Put on some right thinking. That's right, put on some right thinking every single day. When you're choosing that pair of pants and that sweater and that pair of shoes or whatever, make sure, did you clothe yourself? Did you put on the right thinking? Revelation 19:8 says, I put on righteousness, right thinking, and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. In other words, everything I needed. You know, I got the robe and I got the hat. I got the complete outfit. It's right there. It's all together. I've accessorized myself because that's what my justice, my fairness, my understanding of equality, my sense of perfect peace is all about. I've clothed myself right now in right thinking. Let me tell you this. As you begin with right thinking, I'm telling you, you can watch the news and you can listen to it because your right thinking will say, I'm not allowing this to irritate me. I'm allowing it to be that which I treat for and treat about. As I hear some people speaking words of fear, I may speak and treat for them. For that person on the news that says, I'm afraid and I'm living in poverty and I can't make ends meet, I treat for them. I treat, and it becomes a wonderful spiritual exercise because you're clothed in right thinking. Let me tell you this. The challenge is we can be so easily led astray when our thoughts are fear-based and we're consumed with stress and worry and fear. We're easily led astray because we're not clothed. We're naked in that. We're naked in our fear and naked in our stress and naked in our worry and our anxiety, and we're easily led astray. But when we are clothed in right thinking, there's a sense of clarity that we can hear anything and everything, and we can bring balance and clarity to it. We can welcome a divine wisdom that helps us to understand and comprehend this is true and this is not. This I know is right and this I know is wrong. You see, it'll come to you easily because you'll have this sense of right thinking. So what we want to do is embrace ourselves so we're not susceptible to any kind of sickness coming in during this winter season. And we are not allowing confusion or inner rage or frustration to be a gateway or an open door for any kind of dis-ease or discomfort to be welcomed within our body. So treatment is not just a magic word or hocus pocus. That's not what it's all about. It requires an intelligent use of the laws of thought and clear reasoning. And it involves more than just ridding a person of their current misery, because what we really want to do is just engage in intelligent use of the power of right thinking, of righteousness. Wow, look at righteousness in the Bible and how many scriptures there are on it that are speaking about, are you thinking with right, clear reasoning, clarity? Treatment, what it does is we pray to treat in this way. It affects fundamental changes in the way that we look at life. For when a person is healed through the method of science of the mind, well, his whole outlook is bettered. His life is bettered. Not just is he free or she free from this illness, but she's free from the cause, free from the thoughts that have held that person in a bondage. The chains are set free. There's a liberation. When we begin to treat and talk directly to the thought that is bringing about this particular challenge physically within your body. What is the thought? What is the fear? What is the irritation? What is the anger? What is the resentment? What are you holding in your body? What has happened in your life that you may have subconsciously taken something, an emotion, and you froze it deep within your deeper sense of being, that deeper mind. And it's there, and it's blocking this wonderful, liberating, healing force that wants to go within your body. So what we want to do is that when we're treating and we're working with releasing thoughts of doubt and fear and stress and anxiety, etc., all this area, we're changing that person's life, not just freeing them from an illness, but setting them on a course for success in all ways. Because what happens is quite often a person becomes kinder and more tolerant, more unselfish, and will no longer demand that everything should evolve or revolve or consist of just him and his wishes. Well, he begins to meet life as it comes, with an ability to adjust and to go with the flow, you might say, or adjust himself to whatever challenges come. Now, this is the sign of an emotionally mature and well-balanced person. His or her thoughts, as well as his or her body, are healed. So it's not just the body being healed, but it's the consciousness, the thought life that's going on is also healed and transformed. And it's in the sense of right thinking, perfection, completion, wholeness. And we become mature and well-balanced. And isn't that what we all desire in our life? But you want to just say, oh, I just want some balance in my thinking, and I want a sense of maturity that I've evolved from childish ways and ways of just tit for tat, and you said this and I'll say that, and I'll get you, and revengeful feelings. I just want to be a little bit more mature. Well, when we work on the healing power in thought in our life, a maturity happens within us. What is so powerful is understanding that through prayer treatment, the whole man or woman is healed, both in consciousness as well as within the physical body. I hope you enjoyed tonight's class, and if you have questions or concerns or just saying, I need some greater clarity, I hope you'll reach out to us and share a question, because I'd love to make sure that we've got good clarity around this teaching tonight, and we understand the power of prayer treatment and what treatment is. That we're treating not the condition, but the thoughts that are creating the condition. So we change our thinking, we change our life. Man is exactly what he thinks. Woman is exactly what she thinks. If you think you are, so you are. So let's just embrace the power of healing. Let's welcome righteousness. Welcome right thinking. All right? So now if you have a comment or question, please share it with us. And of course, we're going to move to that section called What's Your Takeaway? What's your takeaway is what we want to do is hear from you, what spoke to you, what resonates in your heart, what really is just sort of like, wow, this is what sticks with me tonight. As I leave this class, I'm going to walk away with this thought, ponder it, let it dwell, let it really have some impact on my life, impact for good, and bring about some change. Okay, so let us know what really spoke to you tonight. While we're waiting to hear from those of you who are joining us through live streaming, I want to ask questions. What's your takeaway from our class students who are joining us live here at City of Light? So remember, if you've got a comment or takeaway, please take a moment and type it in right now. And our registrar, Dr. David Carter, is watching the Facebook to share with us your comments and relate them to me so we can have a great little dialogue, chat a little bit about, and I'd love to hear what's touched your life. So let's begin with our students who are here in our classroom. And let's go to Anne. And Anne, tell us what spoke to you tonight. What's your takeaway?
Several. One is...
Several, good.
Nothing can irritate us without our consent. A very simple statement that you can repeat yourself over and over again.
Right.
You find yourself being irritated.
Yep. If you're irritated, you have to say, what did I consent to?
Yeah. Right.
What did I just do? What did I consent to? Okay, great.
Also, I think it became even clearer to me how I would approach a prayer treatment, because, we had the class, and I do prayer treatments for myself, but we're not active in church now, doing it for other people.
Right.
So much that you get really good at it. So it gave me some ideas about how to approach it and the thought behind things that you're praying, people that you're doing a prayer treatment for. And I also got some real clear direction. My thought was, what thoughts am I having to lead to my sciatic pain?
Mm-hmm.
And the direction for that is, I have a direction now. I'm going to go home and look it up because I know there's connections with chakras and my belief system. So
Right.
I can look that up, and that's a really good thing. You know, I'd heard that when you have something wrong in your body, you're supposed to talk to it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know what to say, and now I know. What thoughts are you having about it?
Right. A whole cleansing of the chakras can be stopping with each chakra level and ask, what are my thoughts around this chakra zone in this area?
Right.
Not necessarily my physical body, but what does this chakra stand for?
Right.
You know, and what
exactly.
thoughts do I have around that?
That's what I'll do.
You know?
Look that all up real carefully.
I've known several people who've been called upon to speak in a public context, and their fear just kind of tightened their throat up, or they began to over salivate and are swallowing too much, and they're nervous, and their just hands are sweating and all this kind of stuff. So what thought are they holding in the chakra of throat and voice that is a fear-based thought? Like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to speak, I don't know what to do. And what happens? They get nervous and they forget what to say, and exactly what they're thinking begins to manifest. I can't do this. And so the throat itself, the whole body begins to respond. So beautiful. Let's just look at the thoughts.
The back, you know, there's chakras that relate to certain sections in the back.
Right.
Up the spine, up and down the spine. But what I'm talking about, I only remember one for what I'm experiencing, and that is safety. And I really feel safe. So there's something additionally, or something that I'm not conceiving or facing or something. So
Excellent. Well, great takeaways. Thank you, Anne. Let's go to Steve. Tell me what's your takeaway from tonight's class session.
To be reminded to recognize and emphasize that the focus of God is for the purpose of focusing on God, not the byproduct of God. A lot of us really have that temptation that, you know, focus on God and you'll get these byproducts, you know, but then it makes it seem like, then God is the means and the byproducts are the ends. And that's not correct. Really, the byproducts is to help us gain an even greater focus of God.
Right.
But you let God handle that.
Right.
Just focus on God and let the byproducts take care of themselves.
Right.
God will look after his own, which the focus is God. God is the help. God is whatever it is you think you're looking for. God is better than that.
Yeah. And I love this because really, if we want to live in the this or something better realm, we want to get there. This is where we just focus on God because God knows the desires of your heart even more than you do.
Yeah.
And so sometimes in New Thought, we're really all about, I'm going to treat for a new car, or I'm going to treat for this house. I'm going to treat for this physical material thing. And we do a lot of teaching about people treating for material gifts. And I'm going to tell you this, that the universe, I'm going to tell you, is so intelligent. It already knows. It already knows. So you don't need to tell the universe anything. But as you dwell in this divine presence, the universe knows, as you've expressed, as you have thought, as you've held in mind your desire, it knows. And it will unfold for you the highest and best. And it will be this, or many times, it's even something better. I can't tell you how many times I have thought or expressed a desire, but just dwelling in the divine presence, the universe selected something even better than I could ever imagine. And
yeah, I know with the story of my dog and the search for a rescue dog, and I lost
yes,
4 before I got the one that I have now. And I scripted for this dog, and I used different words a couple times, but I scripted the color. I even said I want a little female senior, blah, blah, blah. And I got a younger dog, and it's a little boy dog, and I thought, God made a mistake because I scripted for something else. And then I thought, no, there's something, it's always for our best.
yes.
And so there's something more to all of this that will, I guess, come out as it goes along. So it's fine. Yeah.
You're going to find, wow, I did get to something better. Yes. I know it. I'm so happy for you. That dog that you got is wonderful. You are blessed.
You know, and we know that it's perfect because I've seen it before. I've seen the details worked out with finer detail than I could ever imagine in my own mind, in my human brain. And so I just have the faith that it's good for our best.
Excellent. All right, let's go to David Carter. Dr. David Carter, what nugget of truth are you holding and what's speaking to you?
Nothing in the universe has the power to irritate or disturb the infinite.
Nothing in the universe has the power to disturb the infinite. I love that. Beautiful takeaway. Yep. So when we just rest in the divine, you know, it is that, you know what it is? It's like we're standing on solid, firm foundation. You know how comfortable it is to stand on firm foundation versus quicksand or versus muck and mire where you feel like you're sinking? And it's quite often in life we feel like, I don't know how to face this, but when you're standing on some firm foundation, firm footing, you feel so grounded. Can't you go through all kinds of, you know, powerful experiences in your life because you've got this grounding, this sense of, you know, I'm standing on firm ground. You know, I think that's what's so amazing for our lives because, you know, if you feel like your feet are on solid ground in the physical realm, don't you feel like you can dance, you can move, you can do anything, you got liberation, you got freedom? But wait. If I put you someplace where you're not feeling really solid and grounded and you're on something sinking sand, muck and mire, something that's very movable or not stable, are you going to dance? Are you going to feel this liberation and freedom? No, you're not. You know, nothing like walking across a wobbly bridge, you know, that you're feeling uncertain. Could this bridge fall? Could it break at any moment? A little footbridge that's strung across a big gulf and, you know, it's swinging and swaying and you're not feeling that. Versus walking across a concrete bridge, solid and firm. Big different experience. So this divine presence enables us to just be anchored on solid rock. Let's rest in that for sure. All right, any other takeaways coming in from our students?
Ty Thornton. Nothing can irritate us without our consent. Our reaction is the only irritation.
Great.
Having right thinking is the first step in avoiding irritation.
Thank you, Ty. Right thinking is the first step in avoiding irritation. Just let's get to righteousness, right thinking, clarity. Beautiful. Thank you, Ty. Someone else?
Holly Hill.
Holly, great.
Seek the kingdom and recognize your oneness with God, and all the good stuff will come to you with ease.
That's right. All the good stuff. Yep. It's coming to you. Just rest. Rest in God. It's coming. Beautiful. Anyone else?
No.
Looking through any others? Great. All right. Well, we appreciate so much the comments and everything that you share with us week after week. Thank you for the interaction. We appreciate it so much. We're going to be continuing on. We'll look forward to seeing you again next Thursday. Now, if you've enjoyed these classes and you really found them to be enriching your life, I encourage you to go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com. You'll find a donate button there, and you can offer a gift. A sense of saying, in great gratitude and appreciation for value given, I offer a value for value received. I offer something that I'm giving out in appreciation and expression of gratitude for that which I've received in my life. So that donation is a wonderful, powerful spiritual work that you can do that says, I am walking in great appreciation and gratitude for the Spirit's wisdom that's imparting in my life right now. Thank you for your generous giving to the Emerson Institute here at City of Light and the wonderful work that we're doing in offering spiritual enrichment to our world. I am delighted to know that there are people from all around the world who are viewing these classes and enjoying this teaching. I am thrilled to hear the responses from people who said, hey, I tuned in, I watched, I've been watching you, I've been hearing this, and many people not always sharing during the live, but watching it later on when maybe they don't feel like they can offer a comment. But I appreciate when you message me or share with me, and I know that there are hundreds out there who are joining us in this class experience, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And you're in my thoughts and prayers because I'm believing and expecting great things to unfold in your life. I look forward to seeing you again coming up this Sunday at 11 for our celebration service. There is a Christmas Eve service, Christmas Eve, 7 p.m. You can join us through our Facebook or, again, our YouTube channel at City of Light. Now, again, let me highlight that YouTube channel for just a moment, because I want you to know that if you've missed classes or missed a service, you can go back and you'll find all these things libraried right there that you can look back and pick up on weeks gone by of classes, sessions, workshops, services, etc. that are all there at our YouTube channel. It's a wonderful TV channel, you might say, where you can go and select what you'd like to view. And if you missed anything, you can make up or catch up at any time. So that YouTube channel, again, is City of Light Atlanta. That's all. Head there and you'll find all kinds of great resources, workshops, classes, and services that are there for you. God bless you. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week. I know it's going to be a great week.